and he's in trouble. He's going to run. He's going to get the first down.
Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide. Sauce time. The Pitt Panthers have pulled a stunning upset over the West Virginia Mountaineers.
And Johnny Majors gets a ride across the field.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Simplify Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Kent Vanderwood and Mason Kling. I'll start with Mason. How are we doing tonight?
Doing well, Zach. I got my dancing shoes on. I'm ready to do this thing.
It's the Ides of March, and boy, there's a team coming up that feels like Julius Caesar. Kent, how are we doing tonight?
Great. 1-0 on the week. Let's keep it rolling.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We are joined by a very special guest tonight, friend of the pod, Pitt grad, Mike. How are we doing tonight?
Feeling great. Didn't think that when we were recording this podcast or thinking about recording this podcast forever ago that Pitt would be in the tournament. We thought it would be maybe a Jeff Capel fired podcast or what's the future of Pitt basketball podcast. But at this point, we're enjoying the ride. And hey, 111 seed always makes a run. Why not us?
Yeah. If you could go back and talk to preseason Mason about what was going to happen this year, I think he'd be pretty happy with how things worked out regardless.
I mean, if you told preseason Zach we'd be in the play-in game, I might even be like, all right, I'm good with that. But you know what? Let's start there. Play-in game last night against Mississippi State. My heart was pounding the entire second half. I don't even know where to start with this game. Let's just go half by half, I guess. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is how Mississippi State opens the game. I think it was the most predictable thing in the world that they are literally statistically the worst 3-point shooting team in the entirety of Division I, and they come out shooting 4 of 5, I believe.
Yeah, they were the 2017 Warriors there for a sec. And then they eventually came back to earth. But yeah, I was like, if that's going to be how this game, because that was their whole chip in their armor, right? Was that they weren't great from beyond the arc. So when they came out just so high, I was like, here we go. We're in for a long game. And I mean, we still were, but they did cool off eventually.
I saw a tweet where it was like, you're Pitt fans when you say, hey, this is the worst 3-point shooting team in college basketball, and you expect them to shoot lights out. And then the first 4 minutes, it's like, okay, this game is over. Like, if they're going to start hitting threes and they're a pretty good defensive team metrics-wise, it's like there's no shot you stay in this game. But then you quickly realize that there's a reason why they're the worst 3-point shooting team in college basketball. They came back to the mean hard. Like, super hard.
Yes, they definitely did. They definitely did.
I guess we didn't even touch this. So I guess pregame we learned that Federico was going to be out for the game. So this was Guillermo Diaz-Graham's first ever start in college NCAA tournament game. And I don't know about you guys, but I think he did a really, really good job, especially when you look at what was the guy, Tolu Smith or something? His stat line, he seemed to be pretty neutralized. They had a really good defensive game plan for him, but I definitely want to start, before I forget, to shout out Guillermo for just playing much better than anyone could have expected with Fede out in that game.
Yeah, got it. I mean, you knew it was kind of be like an all hands on deck type of performance for their strengths being in their bigs and everything. But yeah, he did surprise me, especially on the defensive end, like you said. I think there were some times on offense he looked a little bit overwhelmed down in the paint there, but that's not really his strong suit. So at the end of the day, he did enough to get us a win, and that's all that matters in March. So yeah, shout out to him and his brother for stepping up and playing some good minutes.
I think he had a really rough first half. Defensively, I thought he was okay, but the team is just a bad rebounding team now. I don't know when this decided to start, but he was good initially, and then it's an offensive rebound and a putback. If they limit the offensive rebounds, I think they win the game by 15-20 because they can't score on one possession. But that second half, I don't know what Capel said at halftime, and people have been pretty hard on Capel, and rightfully so. But there was an adjustment in the second half where they were able to somehow become a better rebounding team. That block, I truly feels like that's the start of something special for him, where he just has so much confidence now. Like you said, on offense, when he was going up, he would be timid. He would fading away a layup. I had never seen it before. He's right on the basket, and just because he's scared, he fades away for a layup. So I think building on that and having that block and letting out that primal scream is going to be something that he can build on as he goes forward in his career at Pitt.
I think even a little bit before the block at the end of the game, he had a block kind of up against the glass. And I think, he started building up his confidence, especially on the defensive end. Later in that second half, which was big. But yeah, I think as a team, you could tell going into the game, they were having Hinson and some other guys like help out down low because they knew it might be a problem. And I think it worked pretty well. So I thought they had a pretty good game plan in terms of helping out Guillermo down there. But yeah, he made some plays when it mattered.
I do think, especially offensively, I think that the first time he got blocked pretty early in the first half, that really stuck with him, like mentally. I think there was a mental block, like especially down low. He's fading away the layup. He's missing really easy shots. He's not going for dunks like he usually does. That block sort of lived in the back of his head. I mean, he opened up the game like hitting a 3-point from top of the key. So I really do think that block gave him some trouble with his shots inside.
Yeah, and I mean that's what you get with freshmen, right? They haven't really been there before. That first time the bright lights are out and you get your shot blocked, that's an ego shot for sure. But definitely was trending in the right direction, like at the end. So you'd love to see that he bounced back and was resilient.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you think about the fact that he was brought in and he was not supposed to be a center whatsoever. They were supposed to be wing guys this year. It was supposed to be Hughley and Federico was supposed to be the backup, and they were supposed to be, role, wing players for us this year. So to start, and both contribute to that center position, in a tournament game is pretty cool.
Yeah. Quick question for you guys. Would you rather have, let's say, because there's no way Fetty's going to be 100% for the game. Would you rather have a 70 or 80% Fetty starting or just stick with what worked game one?
That's a tough question, and it's even tougher because I think the matchup is so similar to what Iowa State does. Like they're kind of a ground and pound, win ugly, play good defense like Mississippi State was, which really makes you want to have Federico back. But at the same time, we just won that way. We just won ugly. So it's almost like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know.
My thing is that Federico I don't know if he was injured down the stretch or he was playing tired, but as the season went on, pretty much past the Syracuse game, he became a pretty bad liability in a lot of those games, getting beat, especially in like the Notre Dame game. He was getting bodied pretty badly in the Miami game. I think I'm with Mason in that right now we've seen what works against a team like this. Like, to be honest, I was watching the second half of this game. I'm like, oh, these guys are just SEC Virginia. So, like, I'm going to stick with Mason and say, keep Guillermo starting. Let him grow some more. Fuck it.
I mean, ideally, like, Fetty is higher than that 80%, and he could actually go and like give us some valuable minutes. But that I don't really know. I don't really know what the case is. They've been super like it was one of those weird injuries where he played against Duke or against Georgia Tech, or he was hurt against Georgia Tech, played against Duke, and then didn't play now. So it's like if he can come in and give us minutes, yes. But at the same time, we have the blueprint now for beating a team like that.
I disagree personally. I would take Fetty. I would definitely take some minutes out of Fetty at whatever percentage he's at. We need to have If it's 50, I'll still take some minutes out of him. I think you gotta have a threat to score down low. I feel like Mississippi State, especially, kind of provided a blueprint for how to defend against us in the second half of that game for Iowa State. And Iowa State's very good defensively. So you need to have somebody down low that is a threat to score so you can kind of break that up a little bit. And if that means Federico on one leg down there to make some layups and go up a little bit stronger than the Twins would, I'll take that. But yeah, I
feel like I split the difference here. I would like him to play, would love him to come off the bench, so it's not like any extra pressure. And if he's able to go, then you can ramp up his minute. But if he's not, then sit him. It's weird because Iowa State is a better shooting team than Mississippi State. Obviously, you can't get much worse. But at the same time, I'm not totally afraid of them. So it's like it did work when we had the Twins in there. Maybe they play even better this time. But the opportunity to have Fetty, especially on the defensive end, because that's like been my biggest problem with Capel. Him having his centers show on the point guard for a quick trap. If Fetty can't get back and recover because he's on a bum leg, they're going to get obliterated by Iowa State. So that's what the Twins are good at. They can recover really quickly, get back down low. If he's hampered, and I think that's the reason why he's been bad the past couple of games, usually he was able to show in the beginning of the year, go back and either change the shot, block the shot, get the rebound. He's a little bit slower. That's how you have Derek Lively killing you in a Duke game. That's how you have Notre Dame being able, it felt like since that Syracuse game, little issue after little issue, and maybe him taking the time off and having the extra day on Friday helps, but I don't know. It's one of those things where I think you test it out, and if he's able to go, you play him. If he's not, it's a quick pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also be fine if they wanted to just start Guillermo and have him dress, and if it's not working and they need to see if he can provide some good minutes, put him in. But that's only if he's really hampered and you think it's going to be a liability, I don't know. That's what the coaches get paid to decide.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have a question for you guys. So most of this game, Blake Hinson was in pretty significant foul trouble. He got 2 fouls early in both halves. He sat for most of the game. How did you think the team fared?
Burton, yeah.
Burton. Yeah, sorry. How do you think the team fared without Burton? I mean, I know the 3-point was working in the first half. Obviously, Mississippi State changed up their defensive scheme in the second, but how did you think they did without him in sort of both halves?
I thought Nelly Cummings stepped up and had a big game. I think that was a big part of it. If Nelly Cummings doesn't step up and has the game he has, I think it's very tough to win that game. But obviously, Nelly Cummings very comfortable, taking the point, and taking the ball up the court. And yeah, he provided some very big buckets in the second half. So yeah, without Nelly, we don't win that game for sure.
Yeah, but and then other side of that, if we did have Burton for his normal stretches, his normal minutes the entire game, I think we could have won that game by 10 to 15 because the offense looked very, very different when he was not in there, and the other guys did a good job of kind of mitigating that. But it was, you saw it last shot of the game, him clutching that up. He's the X factor of the team. It's no secret. Everybody knows it. All ACC, shout out. But yeah, you love having those veteran guys that even when we're down our center, we're down we're down everybody, our best players in foul trouble, we still have the guys that can step up and take the reins. It's a great feeling to have.
My biggest issue with Nelly over the past 2 weeks is I felt like he's been timid. Super timid, super passive, wants to set everybody else up, not get his shot. I don't know if it's the tournament and he's oh, I've done this before. He was I'll take over. And I'll drive. I'll pull up for the shots. And that's what you want for him. If you're going to have to go on a run, it's going to be somebody different every game. I'm very much expecting Blake Hinson to go off against Iowa State if they win. It's just going to be somebody that steps up. And for them to be able to do it where it's I know Rothstein said it was you start your season and the guys that are finishing the year and winning it for you are not the guys that you thought. Hey, we come in, Burton has to have a great game for us to win this one. Not his fault. It was a rough show. He's sitting on the sideline. So it's who's going to step up? And you get Nelly Cummings to step up. Greg Elliott, he's never found a shot that he doesn't like, so he's going to keep shooting. But his aggressiveness works, and then Nike takes the ball, is able to go to the other end immediately and pushing the pace, and just everybody doing a little bit and coming together when your best player is out. I think that's how you end up winning. It's one of those things where you don't want to happen again. I don't want him in foul trouble for Iowa State, but if they do get an opportunity where he is in foul trouble or not having a good game, you've had guys that have stepped up before and can do it again.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it seems like all year it's like any given night is an opportunity for any of those five guys really to just go off and have a big game. Yeah, I feel like all eyes are going to be on Hinson on Friday, revenge game against Iowa State. They don't really like him in Iowa State, so I think there's a lot of chatter that I don't know the full story there, but supposedly a lot of fans feel like he quit on them, so some bad blood there between the fans and him.
Yeah. Also, shout out Nelly Cummings for reverse layup king. I don't know how he does it. I guess when you're playing as an undersized guard your entire life, you learn how to kind of shield your body and use those angles. But some of those shots he gets are crazy.
Yeah.
And that one, he rolled his ankle. My heart dropped there because that was at a tough point. That was at a tough point in the second half there where he was kind of going and being the spark. And I'm glad he's looked like he was okay.
Yeah. Also, to Mike's point earlier, it looked like he was shooting with confidence and playing with confidence again last night. Whereas, like you said, the last couple weeks, he had some frustrating games. Kind of, like you said, hesitant. But when he shoots with confidence, like he knocked down a couple threes last night, at least one. When he shoots with confidence and he plays with confidence, he's fun to watch. And when he steps up, that's cool. But Burton still came back in, hit the game winner. So,
dude, that's gonna be one of those things that's not talked about because of the way the game ended with that shot. But that was an ice cold. That was
hero ball. That's hero
onions. That's what you watch the game for. That was you knew it was going in.
That's his bread and butter shot, dude. That mid range pull up. It's so fun to watch.
It's a lost art, man, and he's good at it.
If only he was 6'9", 6'10", he'd be a great NBA player. He could score from multiple levels. He plays like a big man in a guard's body. Loves the mid range. Wants to back people down in the post, and he's kind of undersized too to back people down, but it works somehow. So I was shocked. But I was saying before the podcast that when he got the ball, I knew he was going to make it. There was something about it where I trust him in that position. I know he's going to do it. Every time his shot leaves his fingers, I'm like, it's going in. It looks very pure. And I was like, that's what's going to happen. On the other end, I didn't think we were going to lose in a heartbreaking fashion because that feels like a Pitt thing to do.
Let's talk about that. So Mississippi State, I believe either they called timeout or we called timeout, I forget. But they get the ball on the other side of the floor. Possession opens up. Guillermo Diaz-Graham with the block of his life. I mean, just saves the game with 3 seconds left. That might be play of the game for him. And then the missed three. Oh, my God. My heart was beating.
I was saying that's it's the equivalent of when you're playing pickup and somebody has the ball outside the 3-point line and you just tell them to shoot it. That's basically what we did on the last play. And it paid off, but holy shit, did not feel great.
Yeah.
It kind of looked good coming off his hand too.
Yeah.
I don't know what we did to deserve the basketball god's praise on that one, but thanks guys.
Yeah. If you watch the replay, they just sold all out for the lob. They were just fully expecting the lob inside. Pretty much just completely played it. Greg Elliott took a step inside, just let the guy run right behind him all the way to the corner. And yeah, when you see that, your heart just sinks. And then when he misses, you have that half second of celebration, and then you see him tip it because we didn't box out again. Burton was in good position to box out, just simply did not box out. First tip, yeah. When you watch replay, it's like, oh my god, if that tip, that's an easy tip. If that goes in, we lose too. So, yeah, we got a lot of
buzzer beater too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And crazy part about that too is he could have taken a dribble and shot it too. He could have got a better shot than that. It was just like so funny that the narrative was Mississippi State doesn't have it from 3. We're going to give them that very shot to end the game, and then it couldn't have fit the narrative to it better to a T. Would hate to be on that side of it though.
Yeah, and I think this also goes to show like ACC, like the ACC, like you could get down in the ACC. Like it wasn't. I know everybody said it was a down conference. It wasn't a good year for them and everything, but they said it on the post game. This is a good win. Mississippi State was a good SEC team. They thought that they potentially could go far. All I saw was everybody talking about Mississippi State beating Pitt. They could beat Iowa State and they could go on a little run themselves. And it's like, hey, no, it's not that easy. You're going to have to fight. Starting center is out. Best player is in foul trouble, and you're still able to come out with the win. So it's like, hey, the ACC is not. It wasn't a down conference. Pitt. It's almost like this showed Pitt isn't a fluke. Like this season wasn't a fluke. It almost validates our season because first 4 getting in the tournament, seeing our name there on Sunday is great. If you don't win that game, I don't feel like we're in the tournament. I just don't. Because the tournament is game after game after game after game. It's just going. We were the stand and load game, and it's like, yeah, we win. We're in the tournament. We actually feel it. If we lose, it's like, great season. Syracuse game was the highlight of our season, though. You botch Notre Dame. After that, you then lose a heartbreaker in Miami. Then you beat a Georgia Tech team, which was good, but then get blown out by Duke and then lose to Mississippi State. That's a terrible end to the season. The momentum that you built all throughout just feels like it dies versus now it feels like it's right back up. It's like, yeah, let's go recruit whoever we want to. Let's bring in new transfers. Let's keep the ball rolling. And I think that was the big thing with the win.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about how big of a program it was just because we were like, I was just kind of ecstatic to see us win a tournament game. But you're absolutely right. That's going to be like a big one that you can look at like a couple years from now and be like, remember that game? Like that's a great point.
All right. Anything else on the Mississippi State game before we move forward with the rest of the show?
I can't hit rebound.
Yeah, they can't make free throws ever since Notre Dame, and they can't rebound since maybe that same game. I don't know. Curse of
we
Mike
look
Bray.
So small on the court, dude. So small.
It is the Mike Bray curse. He's sticking with us for.
Yeah, they're both frustrating. The rebounds and the free throws are both pretty frustrating. They shot a little bit better from the foul line yesterday. Definitely still left some points out there, but the rebounding is the other team gets 3 possessions every possession just because. Yeah. And then when they're scoring points off of the third possession, it's just super hard to watch. But hey, we won.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move on to Iowa State, let's recap sort of other Pitt news that we missed for not putting out a podcast for a month. By the way, that episode was lost. My computer got hit by a meteor. There's no way we recorded an episode where we totally jinxed the rest of the regular season after Syracuse. That is fake news. Anyone telling you otherwise is trying to sabotage this podcast. So, ACC awards. Burton, first team. Hinson, second team. Nike Sabandy, sixth man of the year. Capel, coach of the year. I feel like Capel being coach of the year has been a lock since like maybe the 2/3 point of the season as far as ACC coach of the year.
They won 5 ACC games.
Yeah.
They were like, wow, this is impressive, Capel. And he was locked in from there.
Nike six-man, I think, was really deserved. I mean, like, he was playing like a starter most of the year as far as just what he contributed to the team. Burton first team, super deserved, and Hinson second team, just the coldest three-point shooter you've ever seen. He's going to pull up from Ohio and make the shot.
Yeah, did we talk about that at all?
That's a good point. That shot was insane.
I think I woke up my roommate during that shot.
That was I I mean, you've seen it, like all the broadcasters were saying it, but that's literally the shot where you're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then you're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool."
Yeah.
No,
Cool.
no. Yes.
I feel like everyone who wasn't a Pitt fan watched him take that shot. Like, what the fuck are you doing? A Pitt fan is like, yeah, he's gonna hit that.
Dude, the funniest part about that is there's still 14 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yeah, that was just the good old fashioned Hinson heat check.
Yeah.
Everybody, that was like a lot of eyes were on that game last night, and I had a bunch of non-Pitt people texting me like, who is this Hinson guy? He will just pull anything, and I'm like, yeah, he will.
Yeah.
But it's awesome when it goes in.
Honestly, it's awesome when it doesn't go in. It's just somebody with that much confidence.
I mean,
You know what?
Go ahead, go. You go first.
No, I'm saying somebody with that much confidence deciding to just, you know what, I'm gonna pull. I have to respect it. I have to. It's because he also he doesn't look like the type either. Like Hinton is. It's like you feel like he would play the mid-range game. He's a little bit bigger, and it's like, no, I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna make it every single time. I'm gonna fade away. I'm gonna step back. Like even the Miami one, when it was like, maybe we could have gotten a little bit of a better shot. It almost went in. Like it almost did.
Yeah.
So I'm at the point where I'm like, if he decides to pull, I'm fine with it.
I was gonna say that shot it was the worst shot of all time. Like everything about it, it still stayed on the rim for a minute and looked like it was gonna go in the entire time. That was jeez.
The funniest thing about that video, I think, is watching Capel. Because you can tell he's like, what the fuck, and then he just kind of just shakes his hands or whatever once it goes, and he's like, all right.
He was getting ready. If that wasn't going in, he was getting ready to put Hinson on the pine for a little bit. But
yeah, but it went in, so it's all good. But honestly, I think Hinson, looking into next year, I'm so happy Hinson has another year of eligibility.
Yeah.
He's just so fun to have on your team, and just watch play. So yeah, excited for that.
That's if he doesn't get drafted after we go on this run.
All right. Let's start the conversation. How old is he? What, like 25?
Yeah. Perfect NBA age.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's we got to step in some bad news. Hughley's transferring out. Announced right before the game. What the fuck?
I don't think it's bad news.
Yeah. I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with you.
It just feels like it's a new era. Everything is new. Like he was great for trying to build the program back, a great recruiter, nothing bad to say about him, but what we wanted from him back then is not what we need right now.
Okay.
Is he going to be in a situation where he accepts a bench role next year? Because personally, I wouldn't start him. I think Fetty had done enough throughout the season to where this guy is younger. I think he's going to be here a little bit longer. I want him to keep on playing for us. And would you be fine being on Nike and being a sixth man of the year? I don't think so. So to have no problems, to have everything be okay, you have him walk away. Now, would I have loved him not to put it out before the biggest game Pitt has had in 6-7 years? Yeah, that would have been a little bit better. Maybe wait till after the season is over. But hey, he put it in. Nothing bad to say about him. But I think it was time for everybody to move on, because even whatever happened was weird. No information. Just I'm done for the season. He played. He came back. Didn't look right. It was just everything about it. Clean break. Everybody moves on. He finds a new home. We continue to recruit, bring in whoever we want as a backup center, and you have no bad feelings. Versus next year, it gets ugly. He starts to say things in the media. He's tweeting out stuff. Bad vibes returning to Pitt. I just don't want that. So I'm fine with everybody moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We definitely found ourselves in a toxic relationship there, but it's working out. All the best to him.
I will say the one thing I don't think people are talking about enough is that Hinson was the piece that I think Capel's able to sell all these transfer guys on this year, right? Fetty came in this year specifically to back up or not Hinton. Fetty came in specifically to back up Hughley, and like I have to think that playing with a guy like Hughley might have affected the decision of like Nelly Cummings, Burton, Hinson. So in a way, even though he didn't play this year, he was one of probably the biggest pieces in getting this team together this year and getting all these pieces into Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. It would be nice to have another big body inside to be able to rebound and but at the same time, like if you get a couple centers, that come in next year, that's fine. I think if probably Capel might want to stick with the same type of offense next year, more of a 5-out type situation, and he just doesn't fit that. So I think that also may play a big part in this decision to transfer. Fetty fits that a lot better than Hughley does, and if they can get another center that kind of fits that as well, that might be more of the direction that Capel wanted to go in moving forward. So it may not have just been a Hughley decision. It may have kind of been sort of a mutual looking forward to keeping with what was working this year. So, and he just doesn't necessarily fit that.
100%.
All right. I'm no longer negative. It's just news. You guys have sold me. All right. Let's look forward. Friday, I believe the tip-off is scheduled for 3:10 p.m. 11-6, Pitt versus Iowa State. How are we feeling? What's the vibes?
Honestly, I love the the rest over rust debate here. I think given the kind of the situation we ended our year on, playing an extra game before we actually get into the real tournament was one of the best things that could have happened to us. We're loose. I'm not sure the last time Iowa State played. They've had a lot of time to kind of sit and think about this one, and we just got to keep the ball rolling. It's March.
Yeah, I agree. I think the confidence coming off of a win like that, especially when Burton's in foul trouble, you win with Burton in foul trouble and with Fetty out. If you come in on Friday, if you're that team and Fetty plays and you're feeling like you're coming in very, very confident, and if you're coming in without that game, you're going to start a lot slower. So it may work in their favor. And I like the matchup, honestly. I think they're, a little bit of a better Mississippi State. They play a similar type of way. They're a very good defensive team. So yeah, it's going to be tough to score points. We got to definitely be a little bit more creative on offense, and knock down some shots when we get some open looks, because they're not going to come that often. But in terms of playing a 6 seed, I think, looking at the rest of the 6 seeds, I would much rather play Iowa State than the other 3.
Missing
That's
Kentucky.
where I'm at. Yeah, that's where I'm at. This is house money at this point. Season is complete success and everything, so everybody should be loose. Everybody should have fun. Only difference between Iowa State and Mississippi State, and weirdly, I've watched a bunch of Iowa State games. They have guys that get hot. Like Mississippi State, there was was it Moore who hit a couple of buckets in a row, but they legit can get hot from 3, and that is something where you have to make sure you defend the 3. If that same situation happens, I think Iowa State knocks down a 3 versus Mississippi State missing. So I'm totally I'm going to be nervous, because you're always going to be nervous watching your team play, but I'm also going to be with a sense of relief, this is cool, just enjoying the moment. Now, don't go and lose by 30 like you did to Duke, because that was sour really quick. But besides that, as long as they go out and put up a good showing, I just think everything is just momentum. Building, just keep building for that. And you beat Iowa State, then you're really talking about we can make a road run, because I haven't watched much Xavier this season, but I think we end up beating them, and then that's when you really get into it. So I'm more just, this is house money, and if you do go ahead and somehow pull off a run, then it really starts to get fun.
I mean, I remember seeing that one of the hot things, like you said, everyone's talking about how Mississippi State could possibly go on a run if they won this playoff game. It seems that we were 2 really evenly matched teams. Do we think that same upset factor applies to Iowa State as it did to Mississippi State, that it does to us, because we're a better shooting team?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a much better team than Mississippi State. I think if we were at full strength, if Fetty's 100% and Burton doesn't get in foul trouble, I think we win that game like a lot easier. So yeah, I fully believe that at full strength we would be able to definitely make a run, similar to the way people were projecting Mississippi State could make a run if they had beaten us.
Based off the you said it best earlier, Ken. We definitely got a pretty solid draw, not just in the first game matchup, but like in the Midwest as a whole. The other 6 seeds, Creighton, so Big East, but then you have a Kentucky team, which I know they're having a down year. They're playing good ball now.
You don't want Tshiebwe. There's no situation in which we would have anybody to guard Tshiebwe.
Yeah,
like
that would be.
I would set the line at like 9.5.
Exactly. You have Iowa State, obviously, and then TCU. So I mean, they were a ranked team all year, playing in one of the best conferences. It's an okay draw.
Imagine if we played TCU and played against Jamie Dixon, and then we won and we played against Sean Miller.
That'd be crazy. Just an all-out revenge tour. I guess not really even a revenge tour, but just Pitt tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also have the kind of long shot of Penn State is on our side. You have possibly the Pitt Penn State Sweet 16.
That'd be wild.
State of Pennsylvania would crumble.
I would be in shambles that entire game. I don't even know if I could watch the TV that entire game. I'd be a wreck.
Our whole thing is that like we can, if Penn State beats us in football, we can always fall back and say we were a basketball school. But if the last time we played them was in a tournament and we lost to them, that would be detrimental.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like similar how like if we lost this game, it's like we didn't even make the tournament. If we lose to Penn State in the tournament, shut down the program. We're done.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that point. Let's go A&M.
Honestly,
A&M is honestly underrated as a 7 seed.
They're a good team.
Penn State's playing good ball right now, though. So I mean, I think that'll be a good game. All right, we'll see how it goes.
One more question for you guys, real quick.
Yes.
Do you trust Jeff Capel? And in the event in which Pitt has a bad season next year, would he still get another year based off of what they've done this year?
How bad are we talking?
Yeah, how bad are we talking?
Let's say like 10 in the ACC.
10th in the ACC?
Yeah.
My trust would plummet, but I think knowing Heather Lyke, seeing how she tends to trust coaches for the long haul, looking at like the Narduzzi extension, looking at the preemptive Capel extension, I would think he gets another year. I don't think they want to pay the buyout money. If I'm not mistaken, Stallings might be on the books next year, and Capel just got an extension. So I don't think he's fireable, at least for another couple of years. And I do think that like it's a trust the process, essentially. We've seen he can make it to the tournament. It's my personal trust in him would plummet if we go back to 10th in the ACC. I think the floor now is somewhere in that like 5 to 8 range, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have some returning pieces, but we're also gonna have a lot of young pieces next year. It'll be a much different looking team. I assume we'll try and get some other transfers in. So, but yeah, that would definitely be a strike again, I think. But I think he's bought himself at least 2 years with this year, I think.
I also think another thing is, are we losing close games? We're getting blown out. How are Fetty and the Twins progressing? I think if we take a significant step back, but the Twins are really improving, and like our young guys are contributing that like haven't been in this year, like Jeffries and Dior, like that might be another selling point. It's like, well, we're a young team. We had a very veteran team last year. there's a lot of factors, but I would say he's not going to get fired if he takes a step back.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope Hughley is the lone man out in terms of wanting to transfer this year.
Mhm.
I would love for Dior to stay on the right path and play some basketball next year, and we can see what he's got. But yeah, we got some good freshmen committed to come in, so next year will be it'll be interesting. But yeah, like I said, I think he's got at least 2 years.
What about you, Mike?
I think
What are your
so.
thoughts?
I think so too. I think he has 2 years. Only thing I do worry about is because of how exciting this was. Like you said, Zach, this was a very veteran team. Like these guys have played big time college basketball. We are now switching from a very veteran team to we're gonna be like one of the youngest teams next year in with players actually playing in college basketball. So I do think that as long as you see growth next year, and let's say by end of the year, that's really when you're clicking. Like very similar to the Duke team this year, they were terrible to start the year. All freshmen, nobody really coming back besides Jeremy Roach. But you end the season on a 9-game winning streak. Because they were terrible in the beginning of the year, that's why they're a 5 seed now. But if you're somehow able to we all understand it may be a little bit more of a process to bring people in. Guys coming from high school to college, it's an adjustment. If you're still able to make progress throughout the year, I personally will be fine. Where I would worry about Capel is that when we had Xavier Johnson, when we had Cam Johnson, when you had that whole team, it felt like towards the end of the year, there was no more structure. It was just whatever. I don't care about these players. I don't really care about this team. And everything on and off the court was a mess. So is Capel a guy that he is able to keep a team together, or was it just a one-off thing because he had a team where his players were 22, 23, 24 years old? Like, can he keep them focused or not? And that's what I'm looking for next year.
That's a really good point.
And it'll be a great test.
Yep. All right. We're going to talk field at large. I want to put one more note on the Iowa State game first. This is a tweet hot off the press from Twitter user @CycloneLarry69. Quote, "If Iowa State loses to Pitt on Friday, I will tase my nutsack on live stream. They are stinky garbage at basketball, and Iowa State is going to run them out of the gym." We've got a nutsack taser game, boys. That's all I've got to say. That's what we're playing for. We are playing for glory and some guy to get his nutsack tased.
Good luck, Larry. Good luck.
Larry. All right. Let's talk field at large. All right. First off, who do you each have winning the tournament? Or is it too early to reveal your brackets? What are we thinking?
Now, I mean, not exactly going out on a limb here, but I think Alabama's been the best team all year. I know they've had some controversy, but they're just the most complete team in my eyes. They have a pretty solid path to get there, in my opinion, as well, which makes it favorable for them. So that's who I have taking it all.
I think I need all night to keep looking back at my bracket because I feel like I've changed my mind 10 times. So the answer I tell you right now might not even be the same answer at noon tomorrow.
Yeah, I also reserve the right to change that.
I'm between two. I am Arizona and Duke. I think Duke is really playing the best basketball in college basketball right now. Derek Lively has turned into if he's played the way he played the last 15 games, he's easily the best defensive player in college basketball. Kyle Filipowski doesn't make sense how he does it, but he's a good player. They have the veteran in Roach who's been there before, and they have young, hungry guys. Arizona, I fall for this trap every year, and I'm going to keep on doing it. Every year I think Arizona's going to win the national championship, and they lose in the round of 32. But I do think this year, the team's really good. I like Tubelis. I like the guys that they have on their team winning the Pac-12, and that was a fun game against UCLA. I really like UCLA, but obviously with I'm blanking on his name, tearing his Achilles, that kind of slows down a little bit for me. But I think I'm all in on Arizona this year.
Yeah,
I'm with Mike. I am all in on Duke. Like he said, they are so hot. I just think that they just got hot at the exact right time. They're going to keep playing through the tournament. I have them as my champion right now.
What if I told you I also have Duke as my champion? They've just been on a tear. 9 straight wins going into the tournament and just looked dominant in the 3 games in the ACC tournament. Minus, I forget, they played Miami?
Yes,
That ended up being a close game. But yeah, they beat Virginia, I think, by 10. Beat us, obviously, by almost 30. Just playing very, very good basketball right now. And honestly, might be a little underrated as a 5 seed. They could have probably been a 4. Definitely possible that, that they end up just keeping the run going and winning it all. But to Mike's point, Mike, I have always had Arizona, and I refuse to do it this year. So I'm finally done. So yeah, I'm not even having Arizona in my Final Four this year. They're done.
You're off. You're done. You're off the Arizona.
But this is the year they're going to win it. So
yeah, we have just confirmed Arizona national championship. Congratulations to the Wildcats. All right, next question. Who's your sleeper bad team? Who's going to get bounced early? I think I have a very solid pick for this. I'll go first. Purdue's not making it past the Sweet 16.
Damn, you took mine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot of people have the Boilermakers getting bounced pretty early. I actually have them losing to Memphis in the second round. I'll try and come up with. Let me look at my bracket. I'll give you a different pick here in a second. But
well,
if
I'll talk
anybody else
Purdue.
has different.
Me and Mason were watching the Purdue-Indiana game in Purdue, and they only have Edey, who is just big. That's all he has, and their guards are like YMCA level guards. I think they stink.
I needed like a printed out version of my bracket so I can look at the whole thing.
Mike, I hate to say it, but I could see Arizona. Maybe it is because they always get bumped early every year, but that Arizona
Missouri game,
that matchup, that track meet that's going to turn into, just has chaos written all over it for me, and I could see them just going down on a last second, who has the ball last kind of game.
Oh, I have my team, Gonzaga. I have Grand Canyon beating Gonzaga in the first round. I watched that Grand Canyon WAC championship game. I've never seen a team shoot so many threes. They come down and they make it too. This Gonzaga team has been kind of under the radar all year. I know they lost to St. Mary's during the regular. They weren't like their usual dominant self. So to get like a team that shoots a lot of threes and can make up for Gonzaga maybe being dominant in the paint with that 3-to-2 ratio, or that I think that Grand Canyon ends up winning a couple of games. Like that's my team that goes in and running the tourney this year.
I like.
They
that.
also have a crazy point guard. I'm blanking on his name, but watching him, I was like, oh yeah, you always need a guy, and he's that guy that like everybody's gonna know end of the tournament. That's my team that makes a little bit of a run, and then Gonzaga's the one that ends up falling off.
One more bonus honorable mention. I love Indiana, but Kent State feels like they're going to play spoiler this year. And I would just think that Mac on Big Ten crime is very funny. That's all.
Let's go Golden Flashes. This is one I've been debating. I don't know if I'm confident enough in this to pick it, but just to throw it out there, spice things up a little bit, I'll say Houston possibly. I know that they're, obviously really high up there. Only 2 games against, huh?
the way they play, like they're like Virginia, where they try to play good defense, and if the offense isn't going and it just comes down to like the end of the game, the team goes on a run.
Yeah, I guess I guess what do you consider early for Houston? 32 or even Sweet 16? Is that like Sweet 16 is probably not. It just just first two.
Yeah,
I would say probably first two. Yeah.
I mean I have them playing Iowa in that second round game. Iowa's a pretty good team. Can put up some points, can hit a lot of threes, but not sure I'm confident enough to take that. But I'm just saying, could happen.
All right, so upset alert in a week from now, Houston, you're on the hot seat.
All right. Put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
All right. What's your upset pick? Final question. I mean, I guess Mike already gave us Grand Canyon over Gonzaga, but anyone else got? What's your trendy upset pick?
VCU over St. Mary's. I think that's kind of a popular one, though.
I think I'll throw in something spicy. Louisiana over Tennessee. Tennessee has been playing some miserable basketball the last 2 weeks. I just think they're out of juice. I think Louisiana is going to upset Tennessee.
I think that's also possibly a popular one. I've been seeing that one around. I also took that.
We double as a Raging Cajuns podcast, so I stamp my approval on that one.
Honestly, I wasn't aware of that that messaging, but I guess we'll work it into our future scripts.
It'll be profile picture is Pitt related, header is crawfish or something.
Okay, it'll be a boil.
What's the work situation like? Calling off tomorrow?
I'm off work Friday.
Sick, not going to do anything? Okay.
I'll tell you what, Friday. It's going to be the boss button's going to be in full effect tomorrow for sure. Friday is a work from home, so that'll be a little bit easier to get some games on. But tomorrow's going to be tough. I'm glad we play on Friday, honestly.
So glad.
Yes.
Apparently, I'm in the office both days, so I'm kind of SOL. But
well, you can get out. You can get out by.
Oh, I'll be out by 3 for the Pitt game. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll boss button it. You got. I seen your odds. You have enough screens. You can figure something out.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? I think that's it. Let's fucking dance. All right. Thank you for once again tuning into Simplify Podcast. I've been your host, Zach Kaminsky. I've joined by my 2 wonderful, beautiful co-hosts, the best co-hosts the world has ever seen, Mason and Kent. Joined by our special guest, Mike. Mike, do you have anything to send us out on? Anything to plug?
No, I don't have anything to plug. I just want Pitt to win. That's it.
We're plugging a Pitt victory. Yeah. Also, Mike, thanks for coming on. This has been great. We'd love to have you back on sometime. And I guess we'll talk to you after Friday's game.
Hail to Pitt.